Good evening, councillors, staff, members of the public. I declare the Ordinary Council meeting on the 29th of March 2023 open at 5:30 p.m. Please stand. I wish to acknowledge the Garrett people as the traditional custodians of the land that we're meeting on and recognise their strength, resilience and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. Item number 3. This meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded to facilitate community participation for minute-taking purposes, which may be released upon request to third parties. In accordance with Clause 616 of the Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders Local Law 2014, members of the public are not permitted to use any visual or audio electronic device or instrument to record proceeding of any meeting unless the presiding member is permitted to do so. Members of the public are also reminded that in accordance with Clause 617-4 of Standing Orders, mobile phones must be switched off and not be used during the meeting. 3.1 Attendance. I note that all councillors are present. Note that Councillor Urquhart is on approved leave of absence and Councillor Coles is joining us online. The attendance will be listed under 3.1 of the minutes. Do we have Councillor Coles online at the moment? Not yet. Okay, thank you. 3.2 attendance by telephone, instantaneous communication. We have Councillor Coles who will join us shortly, hopefully. 3.3 apologies. CEO, do you have any apologies at all?
No, we have none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. 3.4 approved leaves of absence. Mr. CEO, any approved leaves of absence at all?
Just the one for Councillor Urquhart.
Okay, thank you, CEO. 3.5 disclosure of interest. CEO, have you received any disclosure of interest at all?
I've received none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, CEO. Item number 4, applications for approved leave of absence. CEO, do you have any approved leaves of absence at all?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've received one from Councillor Gillingham for the period 6th of April to the 23rd of April 2023, and one from Councillor Turner for the period 6th of April to the 24th of April 2023.
Okay, thank you, CEO. Can I get a move on that, please? Oh, sorry, Councillor Christensen.
Before we move on, I was meant to email today. I'm also requesting leave from the 17th of April to the 23rd of April, please.
17th of April to the 23rd of April?
Please.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Can I get a move on those, please? Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Thank you. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Is anyone against that motion? Motion is carried 8-0. 7-0. Yep, sorry, yeah. Okay, item 5, response to previous questions. There were no questions that I received at the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 22nd of February 2023. Item number 6, public time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity of members of the public who wish to ask questions of Council. Clause 6.7-3 of the Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders Local Law requires members of the public wishing to ask questions to complete the question form and place the question form in the tray provided. If the presiding member determines that questions and statements are out of order due to offensive or objectionable expressions or defamatory, they will not be considered, recorded nor responded to. 6.1 public question time. I declare public question time open at 5:33 p.m. Mr. Chair, have you received any public questions at all?
I believe there is one, but I haven't received it yet, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any members of the public wish to ask any questions? Could you please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Maura Glow, address 88 Anderson, Port Hedland. I didn't come here specifically to ask this question. I came to listen to the debate further on in the meeting regarding accommodation in town. But finding myself here, I just noticed on the agenda that there are items referring to a number of conferences that councillors may or may not attend going forward in diverse cities like Brisbane, Canberra, Darwin, Perth and Toowoomba. Now, historically, when mayor or councillors attended these conferences on behalf of ratepayers, when they returned to the town, they always reported back to the council and it was recorded as well, so ratepayers would actually know what the outcomes and what they learned and what would be relevant to this town. I noticed on the agenda that councillors or any attendees, the executive as well, report back to the CEO. Now, if this is going to be the custom going forward, and I assume it's been the custom of this council now for quite a while, could we please get the CEO to report to the meeting, to the council meeting, so that the ratepayers can actually know of what the outcome of the attendance was.
Take that one on notice, Mr. Mayor, and happy to discuss with council in terms of what they'd like to see with those reports.
Okay. Thank you, Warren.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any more public questions at all? Okay, I'll close public question time at 5:35 p.m. 6.2, public statement time. I declare public statement time open at 5:36 p.m. Mr. CEO, have you received any public statements at all?
No, I've received none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any members of the audience here who would like to come forward, state their name and address for the record, please, on public statements at all? Okay, I will close public statement time at 5:36 p.m. 6.3, petition, deputation, presentation and submissions. Mr. CEO, do you have any petitions or deputations, presentations or submissions?
Sorry, point of order before we continue.
Yes.
Just want to double check. Are we going to try and attempt to have Councillor Coles dialed in? She's made contact with me and saying she's in the lobby waiting, so I don't think there's an issue with her side of things. It looks like it's not being recognised on our side, so can we just confirm what's going on, because she has tried to contact me to say she's present. So.
Well, we're trying to get her on. That's, yeah.
We'll look to the team to try and do that. Mr. Mayor, we have two deputations tonight. One in relation to item 12.3.4, and that will be a presentation from Owen Hightower of RFF and David Campbell, but I'm not sure that David was going to try and dial in. Owen, he's not there. I'm assuming he's just watching online. And the second presentation, Mr. Mayor, again online, will be item 12.3.5 from the Rowe Group and Sam Bowers. So if you're happy, we'll perhaps just see if we can get Councillor Coles into the meeting, and then we'll perhaps start with Owen and ask for that deputation.
Through the chair, we're just resending a connection to her. We can't see her sitting on the lobby at the moment.
Okay.
Happy to wait for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I'm happy to wait. Yeah,
Might be a benefit to
Yeah,
her to
of course.
get the deputation.
absolutely.
I think, Mr. Mayor, we might have to continue, and we'll just get the team to try and work on it. As soon as Councillor Coles is online, she'll be up on screen,
Yep.
and we can go from there.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, please come forward and give us your deputation, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, councillors and staff, for having me here on Garryara Country tonight. I'm here to speak in relation to agenda item 12.3.4, speaking in favour of the officer's updated agenda item, I think, which has been included into your agenda item pack. We're seeking approval here tonight for the 5-year term, subject to the conditions that have been outlined in the DA. We've worked really, I think, positively with the Development Services team to come up with a really solid range of conditions that I feel properly addresses a lot of the challenges with the site, but also enables us to activate the property, alleviate some of the housing challenges that the town is facing at the minute by creating 40 new houses to come immediately into the market. You'll see in the conditions, what we've outlined there are a number of stringent conditions that firstly limit the condition and the term of the approval to no longer than 3 years, subject to us submitting a detailed long-term plan for approval by the town. And that's about, I guess, the commitment that myself and Dave Campbell have given the town, that we are committed to a longer-term plan about that property, and ensuring we have, I guess, a clear, what I would call, I guess, a stick that ensures we make sure we get that submitted to you within a 3-year time frame, or the approval lapses, really puts it in our court to follow through on that commitment to you. There's a number of other conditions in there around the condition of the property and other buildings, and ensuring that we progress in a meaningful way to assess the condition of those buildings and ensure that they are either rectified or demolished in specific timeframes. And we've also got some, I guess, conditions around operating requirements that will ensure the property is properly managed, that will limit access, that it's only for Campbell Transport's staff specifically, as we've outlined to council throughout the DA period since we gave council a tour of the property on site. Look, I think overarchingly, we're really experiencing a strong accommodation and housing crisis in Hedland. It's nothing that no one here is not surprised by and not used to experiencing. It's a difficult situation for the town to be in, and I know these types of proposals are not always the things that councillors want to be really ruling on at the end of the day. But what I do feel here is that we've got a local business in Campbell Transport that's committed to the town, committed to doing the right thing, and following through on a longer term development plan for this site, whilst providing some meaningful relief, in my view, to the accommodation challenges the town is experiencing. And I think the commitment in that is really reflected in the conditions of approval that we've worked with the town to impose, that give yourselves confidence that we'll do what we've said, that ensure that the place doesn't turn into, I guess, somewhere where there's people running amok and really annoying the surrounding residential area, that it's properly managed, and that we invest in the improvement of the appearance of the property until we have a clear plan moving forward. So, look, I'm here to really endorse the amended officer's recommendation, and look forward to, hopefully, if approved, working with the town of Port Hedland and Campbell Transport as the owner of the property to deliver a long-term plan in the next few years that we can all stand behind and deliver, that's bankable. So that's my comments that I have to say. I don't know if Dave's been able to dial in. I should apologise on behalf of Dave. Qantas flights kind of did him over a bit today. So he was meant to be here, and I think he tried to make contact with yourselves to apologise for not being here in person. But I think he's watching it online, and yeah, certainly thanks to the Town Development Services for the way you guys have dealt with the DA through this process. So thanks a lot. That's from me.
Oh, thanks. Before you go, councillors, do you have any questions at all for why is it up at all? No? Okay, free to go. Thank you. Thanks, Alan. Thank you. Okay, the next deputation is from... Let's see, we've got
Sam Bowers.
Sam Bowers. Is Sam online? You can't get it, mate? Nothing? Okay. Okay, we'll move on. That's okay, thank you. Item number 7, question from members without notice. Are there any questions from elected members at all? Yes, Councillor Gillingham. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. With the through the chair, with the Prime Minister and Cabinet's visit, which we had, I think it was the 21st of February, is that right? Have I got the date right there? And we had a civic reception, which seemed to go off really well. I just want to make mention that it was disappointing that we as councillors were not acknowledged through the microphone or anything on the day when the ministers, the cabinet and the Prime Minister were here. I think that's obviously been very much overlooked. We are the leaders of our town, and it would have been very nice to have been able to have met the Prime Minister officially, but we were not acknowledged as per names over the microphone. So I just think, could we please make note of this when we do have civic receptions of these calibre, that just to remind us and everybody that we are the leaders of the town. There were a lot of people that were invited, and it was great to see everybody there, and we were able to meet the ministers of the cabinet, and unfortunately I believe our state Premier Mark McGowan was not able to stay, which I thought that would have been quite important for him to stay. So I think it could have actually, I think, been a better show, if you get what I mean. So that's one of my, just a little gripe there, but I just think that we could have done it better. Or I think our admin or whoever was organising it could have done it better.
Okay, thank you,
Right,
Councillor.
thanks. A second question, thanks through the chair, Mayor Carter, is I see in your announcements by presiding member that on the 21st it doesn't say whether it's state government or federal government that you spoke with the housing minister and other ministers. Could you just clarify that in your announcements by presiding member, because it just says housing minister, minister's assistant. Could you clarify that, please?
Yeah, I'll actually update that for you.
Could you clarify it now? Thank you.
I'll update it for you. Thank you.
Pardon?
I'll update it for you.
Could you just let me know now, because
I'll
it's
update it
a
for you,
part of the
Councillor.
question.
I'll update it for you. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll go on then. I'm assuming then that it possibly would have been just the federal cabinet, but
It
there
was.
may have been other, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just asking you a question.
Yeah, that's all
I actually thought, Mayor, through the chair, that you would have remembered that. And other councillors, as councillors, we didn't get to meet any of the members.
Sure, that's it. I'll update it for you. Thank you.
Pardon?
I'll update it for you.
Could you just let me know now, because
I'll
it's
update it for you.
part of the
Councillor.
question.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm assuming then that it possibly would have been just the federal cabinet, but there may have been other, I don't know, just asking a question I can't.
Can people online please put their microphones on mute for us?
Sorry, Councillor, go again. Sorry.
Oh, yes, thank you, because I was very interested in, because it was the housing minister and also the assistant to the Prime Minister, and also that because Mark McGowan was in town, have you, Mayor, let these ministers know about your multitude of housing which you're having built in Vietnam to bring and have established in Port Hedland? Have you managed to get through to them yet that this is going to be happening in the future, and what is the update on your houses, please?
Well, I'm not building any houses at all, Councillor. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, it
Is
was
it-
different from
what
what you
you've
said
heard?
before, Mayor. So,
Okay.
I
Thank
just,
you.
okay.
you,
So,
Councillor.
so could you?
Just-
My third question then is:
go
are
through
you
already.
no longer building the houses that you've said that were coming to?
Not building any houses in Vietnam. That's all you need to know. Okay.
I mean, or building houses for Port Hedland.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Okay. Any other questions at all?
Just one.
No.
Yes, Councillor.
Any chance, one request, can we, under item 8 where we got the table, can we, next to the attendance box, create a new box and mention if the meetings are going to be with discussion or not discussion with the council, please, just so it makes it easy for us to understand what we can ask about and what we can't ask about, please.
Can you just clarify that?
So the meetings that you attend,
Yes.
I understand a lot of these meetings are with and without discussion from what I've been told.
They are. Yes.
Are we just able to identify which ones are, which ones aren't, just so we can clarify a few things if I have some questions in relation to that?
All private meetings I have with them are just meetings I have. That's all.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any more questions at all? Okay. Thank you. Item number 9, declaration from all members who have given all due consideration to all matters contained in the business paper before them. I invite all elected members to declare by a show of hands that they have given due consideration to all matters contained in the agenda. May I have a show of hands, please?
Through the chair, except for the amendments that came through at 4:23 this afternoon. Haven't had a chance to look through all the extra attachments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
It looks like, Mr Mayor, we have online our deputation. I don't know whether you want to go back to the deputation.
I wouldn't mind getting that out of the way, yes, please.
I think Sam is on the line, so if you're happy, Mr Mayor, we're happy to take the presentation from Sam.
Yes, please. Yep. Can you hear us, Sam, at all?
You're coming through loud and clear, Mr Mayor. My name is David Majorana, and Sam's joining me in the room. Apologies for the tech issues earlier on. If you're hearing this clearly, I'll proceed.
Sorry, David, we didn't hear that last part.
I was just wanting to confirm that you could hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, I'll go ahead. You're coming.
Yeah, now I can hear you clearly.
Thank you. So good evening, councillors and staff. Thank you for your patience in dealing with tech issues and the opportunity to present to the meeting this evening. My name is David Majorana from Road Group. I'm also joined by Ashley Badalana from Tyre Cycle and my colleague Sam Bowers. My deputation relates to item 12.3.5 on the agenda, the proposed tyre recycling facility at number 20 and 22 Moranbine Street, which we have reviewed the officer's recommendation to council that the application be approved subject to 12 conditions and appreciate the positive recommendations. Also joined by Ashley Badalana. We have also taken the opportunity to clarify the intent of two of the conditions, namely condition 10 and 11, in relation to which we have some concerns, and hence sought clarification on those matters. Condition 10 relates to the specification and timing of the crossover construction, particularly having regard to the works proposed within the Moranbine Rise Reserve in the near future. Condition 11 relates to securing shared access arrangements across the two lots. And in discussion with the town's development services, we do consider that the concerns have been satisfactorily addressed. I believe there may be some minor amendments to the previously published versions 10 and 11. So to conclude, we appreciate and would seek council support for the proposed tyre recycling facility in its recommendation of the JLA, and certainly, should there be any questions, we'd be happy to respond to those. So discussion with town's development services, we do consider that have been satisfactorily addressed. And I believe there may be some minor amendments to the previously published so to conclude, we appreciate and would seek council support for the proposed tyre recycling facility in its recommendation of the JLA, and certainly should there be questions.
Sorry, Sam, is that someone else talking in the background? Sorry.
David, I don't know whether you can hear us, but it sounds like someone else is speaking. We can't hear that very clearly at all. It's not very clear. I don't know whether it's coming through on a separate phone or a separate device, but it's not very clear at this end, unfortunately. Someone else is speaking. We can't hear that.
Okay, we're going to continue on. Well, I'll get the director to speak to that item when it comes up later in the agenda. Okay, item number 10, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. We have office recommendation before us that council confirm the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday, the 22nd of February 2023, are a true and correct record. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Zuki. Thank you. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Are there any questions? Is anyone against the motion? Motion's carried. 8-0. See you. 8-0. Yep.
Councillor Coles has disappeared. Can we just see Councillor Coles for voting purposes?
Yep. Okay, before we move on to reports of committees and officers, I remind members of the public not to take any action on council decisions on items on this evening's agenda in which they may have an interest until formally notified in writing by the town has been received. Decisions made at this council meeting can be revoked in line with the Local Government Act 1995. Item number 11, reports of communities. 11.1, the 2022 compliance audit return. We have a committee recommendation for us, for council. One, notes the arrears of compliance in the 2022 compliance audit return. And two, notes the actions of the town will undertake to ensure future compliance. And three, adopt the 2022 compliance audit return. And four, authorises the Mayor, Chief Executive Officer to sign, submit the town's compliant audit return 2022 to the Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries by March 31st, 2023. Can I have a mover, please? Move, thank you, Councillor Turner. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Is anyone against the motion? No, motion's carried. Absolutely, zero. Thank you, sir.
Through the chair, can I just make a comment?
Yes.
I'd just like to thank Karen and the Tom and governance team for excellent work. The compliance audit return is always a good health check, and whilst there's a couple of actions that required remedy, they've been undertaken, and some of that related to annual returns of former councillors. And our work towards a policy frameworks continues with a focus on management around fraud and corruption control plans. So thank you, team, and thank you to my committee members on the ARC who stepped in when I had lost my voice and was very sick. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Item number 12, reports of officers. 12.1, corporate services. 12.1.1, local government ordinary election 2023. We have an office recommendation before us that council, one, declare in accordance with section 4.20-4 of the Local Government Act 1995, the West Australian Electoral Commissioner be responsible for the conduct of the 2023 local government ordinary election, together with any other election or polls which may also be required. 2, decide in accordance with sections 4.61-2 of the Local Government Act 1995 that the mention of the conduct of the 2023 local government ordinary election, together with any election or polls which may be required, or postal election polls, and 3, refer to consideration in the 2023-24 annual budget allocation of $78,900 for the associated costs of the 2023 local government ordinary election. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Zuki. Thank you, Councillor Zuki. The seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Is anyone against the motion? Motion's carried 8-0. (12.1.2) Statement of financial activity for a period ending 31 January 2023. We have an officer recommendation before us that council pursuant to section 6.4 of the Local Government Act 1995 received a statement of financial activity and the material variance report, note the accounts paid under delegated authority, and received a credit card statement for the period ending 31st of January 2023. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried 8-0. (12.2) Community Services. There are no reports of community services. 12.3 Regulated Services. 12.3.1 Wilson Street Shared Path proposed licence under Section 91 of the Land Administration Act 1997 for the purpose of construction. We have office recommendation before us that council, in relation to the Section 91 licence for the access, construction and maintenance of a footpath, identifiers that will be identified by the State of Western Australia and the Department of Planning, Land, Heritage and the Minister for Lands, and hold them harness against all liabilities, allegations of costs, expenses, distributions of any kind, including without limitation compensation payable to under a third party under Native Title Act 1993 of the Commonwealth, which may be imposed on or occurred by the limited parties related to arising directly or indirectly from the licence 91. Section 91 of the licence. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Zucchi. Thank you, Councillor Zucchi. A seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried 8-0. (3.2.3) Joint Development Assessment Panel application for development approval on tourist development site Lot 1, number 39 Throstle Road, South Headland. We have an office recommendation before us that council recommends a regional joint development assessment panel approves a development application reference number DAP 23-02416 and complies with plans in accordance with clause 68 of the Planning and Development Local Planning Scheme Regulations 2015 and the Town of Headland Local Planning Scheme number 7, subject to the following conditions in advance notice displayed on the screen. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zucchi. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried 8-0. (12.3.3) Fire Risk Management Plan 2023-2028. We have an office recommendation before us that 1. Endorses the Town of Headland Bushfire Risk Management Plan 2023-28 as provided as attachment 1, and 2. Supports the development, implementation in a corridor of comprehensive multi-agency treatment schedules to support the Adopt Bushfire Risk Management Plan 2023-28, and 3. Request an internal reviews in 2 years and 4 years of the plan once adopted. Can I have a mover, please? Move. Thank you, Councillor Zucchi. I have a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried 8-0. Okay, 12.3.4 temporary approval of workforce accommodation, former Port Hedland Detention Centre at Lot 2, number 15 Dempster Street, Port Hedland. Prior to discussion of the agenda item 12.3.4, councillors and the public are noted that an updated agenda was published on the town's website today with amendments officer's recommendation. For clarity, the council will consider the updated officer's recommendation in this item now. We have officer's recommendation before us that council pursuant to clause 74 of the Schedule 2 of the deemed provision of the Planning and Development Local Planning Schemes Regulation 2015 approves the amendment to the planning application 209/504 on lot number 2, number 15 Dempster Street, Port Hedland for temporary workforce accommodation subject to the amended conditions and advice notes circulated in the updated agenda on Wednesday, the 29th of March, as displayed on the screen. Can I- Yeah. Craig, want to talk to the updated amendments?
Sorry, before.
I'd like the Craig to actually talk about it first.
So if you're going to talk about it, should we then suspend standing orders, then recommend standing orders? Because I don't think anywhere in the standing orders it state that we should get deputations from administration who to be corrected.
Happy to suspend standing orders, Mr Mayor. I would suggest you don't need to suspend them all, even officers don't participate through the debate process, but I think the intent, councillor, will be to clarify so that councillors are clear on what changes were made and circulated late, and I am conscious they were circulated late. My suggestion to the Mayor was the Director maybe just speak to those changes so that councillors are aware before they debate and make decision.
Yeah, no, but a concern I had was the reason why I suggested standing orders be cancelled was because if we had any questions, follow-up questions, etc., there's nothing in the position that we can do that. That's all. But happy for it just to go if you wanted to.
Happy to move that we suspend standing orders.
Okay, happy to do that. You want to move in a second? Happy to do that, Mr Mayor.
Mm-hmm. So you're moving, Councillor Christian, is that right? Moving, and Councillor, second? Is that right? You want to?
If you wish to, yeah.
Thought I moved it, but if
Councillor, you are.
Yep.
Okay.
Councillor Christian, I'm happy to second it.
Yeah. Okay.
You need to vote on it, Mr Mayor.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favour? Councillor Coles?
She has voted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's move to absolute majority. See ya. Yep. Director, would you like to speak towards those amendments?
Yes, all right. Through the chair, again, apologies for the delays in getting this to you. As stated in the agenda last week, the Town Planning Service was awaiting a response from our solicitors on several matters contained within the conditions which the applicant had concern about, which was in relation to the provision of a deed. We've since received that advice from our solicitors, which has been incorporated into the new officer recommendation which you have before you. With the main amendments being removal of the food and beverage alcohol restriction condition, which was included due to the lack of information provided by the applicant at the time, which has subsequently been rectified by the applicant. We had the requirement for the deed has now been removed, but we've now got conditions in relation to the provision of the structure plan and supporting documents, which is now being strengthened within the conditions, requiring submission of that documentation by the 30th of April 2026, otherwise the approval terminates. I believe at the agenda settlement meeting, we also were looking to increase the occupation from 150 to 208 persons, so that's been included as well. But again, these have been worked through with our solicitors, and also the applicant is aware of the changes and has contributed to that as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Any questions or any councillors? Yes.
So Craig, could you just explain to me the significance of removing the deed?
Based on the advice of our solicitors, there is legal precedent where the most appropriate tool to apply in this case to require the provision of the structure plan and supporting documents is not actually a deed. It's previously been tried down in Perth and has failed. Therefore, their recommendation was that because we have the ability to include this as a set condition, rather than applying a deed, we should apply the condition instead, which is what we've included within the revised conditions of officer conditions.
It's okay, Councillor.
Yeah, second question.
Yes.
The increase from 150 to 208 residents, people staying at the accommodation, does that include the service staff? Is that the entirety of, or is that just the Campbell's workers, drivers?
Through the chair, I think it's all their staff from memory. Yes, it is all staff from.
I'm just asking the question, that's all. Okay.
That's all, Councillor Turner? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
anybody else have a question?
Yes, Councillor Zucchi?
Just for clarification, before we were talking about a deed which would, in my thoughts, process, mean that we would actually have some sort of legal standing that if Campbell's doesn't comply, that we can then terminate the approval. You said we no longer need that, but we still have the same legal security, I guess?
So the revised condition actually states that if they do not provide or do not submit the structure plan and supporting documents, as said by the 30th of April, the approval actually terminates. So we are covered. It's literally, we've placed the deed with a set condition, which is tight and enforceable.
Okay, that just talks about submitting the plans, but once they've submitted the plans, then what? What guarantees do we have that they are compliant with our wishes?
Literally, they're no different to the deed. Literally, the deed was going to be along the lines that they're still required to provide us with a structure plan. That structure plan and supporting documents can change over time depending on what the applicant's appetite is and also what council's appetite is. So we would be waiting or awaiting that the submission of that to then consider what's being offered by Campbell's.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Zucchi. Councillor Christensen?
Just a quick one. So it was my understanding that the 150 was a number set because of that was the number of current transportable buildings that would be used to house them. Has there been other transportables identified to be housed? Are they going to be housing these extra 50 in the full housing units that are there, or are we bringing new ones on, or is it just in the existing?
My understanding is it's the whole of the existing transportable buildings that are now being occupied or intend to be occupied.
Okay, and sorry.
Councillor Christensen, is that all you had? Any other questions from councillors? Okay, thank you, councillors. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please, to come back into standing orders? Thank you, Councillor Christensen. And Councillor Bennett, thank you. Is it someone vibrating? It's okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Can we get a vote to resume standing orders? All in favour? Yep. Yeah, 8-0. Yep.
Just point of clarification through the chair.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of conditions that have been set for the work camp. I'd just like to ask, I know BHP is just across the road from the work camp. Do we have a timeline from BHP on when that is actually going to be sorted out with all their empty accommodation at BHP across the road? Because we've got the Campbell's now going to start upgrading the area. It's been derelict for a long time, and just wanted to know how will it match or marry together with what BHP is doing? Do we have that information, or is there a timeline at all? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take that on notice. Thank you, Cathy Gillingham. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, a mover, please. Councillor Gillingham, mover. Yep. Seconder. Councillor Christensen. Anyone against? Yep. Councillor Turner. Yep. Okay. Councillor Gillingham.
Speak, is it?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. We have an area of Dempster Street which has been single person's quarters since, well, I can remember, long before 1975. My father was a chef supervisor in 1975 in the single person's quarters, or as it was pretty much back then. And it was just an amazing way of getting our mining area people in our town to have accommodation, because even since back in the early 60s there's been no accommodation in Port Hedland at all. And this way we can see that having our camp now beautified, it's been derelict for a long time. It's been a long time trying to get this area worked out. This is a camp now that possibly will be upgraded to modern conveniences, and also with the lifespan that is in the conditions, who's to say that it cannot be continued as some form of accommodation later on down the track. So this really needs to be upgraded, and here we have some set conditions. It's been checked by all our solicitors, as it's been explained to us tonight here. Perhaps this will help other companies who own areas in Dempster Street or on the corner of Dempster Street and Keesing Street to start upgrading and doing something about the derelict areas which are surrounding the workforce accommodation. So I've looked through all this. We've had some extra information tonight, and I thank the Director for giving us that information. I know it did come through a little bit late, but at least it's all been explained to us. This is something for our accommodation to move forward. Would it free up 40 to 50 houses? Yes, it will. Accommodation at the moment is being rented by the Campbell Company, and has said that we've got these 40 to 50 houses which they are currently renting. That is going to allow that to be coming onto the market for people. Yes, there has been a question to say, oh, who's to say that there's another mining company going to whip up those 40 to 50 houses? Well, that's out of our control. That's out of everybody's control. We cannot help if that does happen. We don't know. We don't even know if that's going to happen. But yes, it will free up those 40 to 50 houses, as Mr. Howtire has explained to us on several occasions. And walking through the areas, a lot of us have been here for a long time. We know what it's been like. Yes, it was a detention centre. It was taken off us quite quickly many years ago. Was totally out of council's hands back then when it became a detention centre. It's become Ocean Beachfront, and that served a fantastic purpose as well. Now we have a company coming in who's willing to spend a lot of money, a lot of time to get this up and running. If it's only for a certain amount of time, at least it's going to do something for that area. So I don't have a problem with this coming through. My question earlier regarding BHP across the road from the Campbell's workforce camp was that, is BHP going to do something with their houses? That's just been sitting, a lot of them are sitting empty there. There's also the corner of Keesing Street and Dempster Street. Hopefully that will start kicking in and tidying up this area. It's been derelict for a long time. The area needs to be made safe. It's not safe there on the corner of Dempster and Keesing Street. So the Campbell's work camp, everything has been put into place, and I'd like to see it progress. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Councillor Christensen.
Righto. So I'd first like to say big thanks to everyone involved to get this to where it is now. As you can see, there's some last minute changes coming through, but I'm assuming there's been hundreds of thousands of changes and some discussions that we're not privy to. So to the town of Port Hedland and the administration staff who helped get it through and helped on the other side, Owen and Mr. Campbell himself, to get to where we are now. Big thanks for putting it through. I think it's a long time coming. A lot of people around town do commonly refer to us and say that we're very rare do we see any form of movement in the town with when it comes into relation of repairing new or building new. But one thing I want to speak about tonight is I think this is a perfect opportunity where we have a company that we can see already that's willing to come to the table, to negotiate, to deal with us and to work with us, which is a very big word I like to use. Is that very rarely do I feel it's a two-way street sometimes. Is this way I'm starting to feel that it looks like to be that way. I'm excited to see, because one thing that is unique about Headland compared to a lot of other towns in Australia is that we are a massive FIFO drive-in, drive-out sort of culture. And you hear the common concerns and the common conversations that are happening is how do we amalgamate? And right now we have proximity. We have the opportunity now to amalgamate FIFO lifestyle in with the people of the town. I think it's onus on us as council, but onus on the people of the town to actually start to speak the language and say we're going to accept these people as members of our town, as I believe they really are. Like, we really need to get better at amalgamating FIFO into what Port Hedland really is. So I like the idea that it's only a small contingent. When I say small contingent, that's in comparison to the big wigs who are putting 5,000 people into camps. I think this is a perfect stepping stone for Port Hedland to work out how this is going to work while we amalgamate people into the town. Second to this, I think it's very key that Councillor Gillingham has touched on already, that this building, this area has been neglected for the better part of a decade. It's been one of the biggest eyesores that I know of that's been around the town for a long, long time. And right now, if we can get people in there to start to use it, then by all means, I actually do think this is another good step in the right direction. However, I will call out and thank the people that don't usually get thanked, and that's the people of the town who have actually reached out to put forward their concerns and their fears. Not easy to step out in public or in the public eye and put out your fears against the norm. So to those people, I want to say thanks for putting your concerns out. They have been heard. We've had a good conversation at our last OCM briefing in relation to the concerns raised. Some concerns are real, and I think we need to understand that. You know, there's some safety concerns from people. You know, the observations are saying that the transport is going to increase, which might put some risk at the kids. But I think it's onus on us to understand, hey, while there is a risk, there are other avenues that we can go down just from not saying no. So I think there is, as you can see, there's myriad of conditions that are put into this that we have given it the due diligence that it deserves. But again, we're always approachable, as I'm sure Campbell's will be, if there's anything that does come up. And I encourage anybody that does have concerns moving forward, if this is put up, that we follow the right process and we start to bring this back to the table. So on that, I'll leave it at that and, yeah, continue on.
Okay, thank you, Christensen. For against Councillor Turner. Yes.
So thank you, and thank you for the deputation. I also spoke with David this afternoon at length. I guess the point I would make is at what point do we, draw a line in the sand? There is a significant lack of investment in affordable housing, sustainable housing for Headland. As Councillor Gillingham just mentioned earlier, we've had the federal government in, we've had the state, the Premier in, and we're still yet to hear, what that investment might be. My concern for South Headland, my concern for Port Hedland, is that we literally just become a TWA, a mining camp. Interestingly, I take, not issue, but I would raise the point, having lived in Headland for 20 years, that, and having seen the emergence of any number of worker accommodation, I'm really yet to see how the FIFO model integrates into community life. We've seen a depletion around volunteerism. We've seen a depletion. And I think, some of the observations and recommendations, or not recommendations, but some of the comments that were made in the notes really indicated that this proposal was pretty lightweight when it came to things like social impact, traffic. We're yet to see what the conditions would be around the operational elements, particularly if we're talking about licensed permits. They do represent risks, and I'm not sure the work has been done to really give me confidence that that would be, is going to be managed in a sustainable way. My concerns are also for a significant increase in residential population at the centre. You know, if this was to be sold off, what's to stop the next developer putting 400 or 500 people in there? And that's right in the middle of a residential area, in the middle of Prettypool. Prettypool? Cook Point, sorry. South side. Anyway, so I think you understand my sentiment. I think also that the amount of contribution, 66,000, is really very lightweight for what this will generate, for what it means. I think, you know, we're looking for a much more substantial, should be receiving a much more substantial contribution, and one that is not just a one-off, but is something that is looked at year in on an annual basis. So I've got some real concerns about this, and that's why I'm opposing it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Turner. Those for? No one else for? Councillor Coles, can you hear me okay? Okay, anyone else?
Can anyone, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm a bit static over here.
Okay.
As long as you can hear.
Okay, as long as you can hear, as long as you can hear, that's all.
No, now a little bit more.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. 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 We'll go, okay, against. Councillor Zuki.
I've been struggling with this one big time. Being a business owner myself, I wanted to see local businesses lifted up and supported. But as mentioned before, I'm struggling with the continued growth of accommodation camps. Thankfully, the main issue that I had has been allayed, the deed of agreement or the substitution of that. Surprisingly, this put me in a lot more of a tougher position. To say that I'm a fan of more camps would be a lie. But then also, you know, having the integration. I mean, a lot of the camps keep saying that they're going to integrate their people, but I don't actually ever see that happening myself. We have served, or my business has served camps in the past, and it tends to be people come in, they stay, they go out to work, and then they come back and stay in the camp. And if they don't stay in the camp, they're going on the planes and they leave town. So I'm going to be really struggling to be agreeing to this proposal. Yeah, my apologies, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Zuki. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Okay, Councillor Gillingham, want to sum up?
Sorry,
Yes,
point of order
thank
before we do sum up. Are we going to attempt to try and get Councillor Coles back on the line?
So she has the link. I think we're hoping that she needs to initiate the dial-in process, and we can then accept her back into the meeting. But I got the impression she wasn't hearing overly clearly, and there were some issues in a technological sense. But I'm hopeful that the guys will let her back in as soon as she's online.
Through the chair, the issue seems to be her end. We are in contact on the text, and she's having difficulties her end.
Okay, thank you. Okay, continue, Councillor Gillingham.
All right, thank you. I'd just like to remind everybody that Mount Yuma Mining Company built their accommodation in Cook Point in Dempster Street back at the very, very start of which is now the BHP company. And so this accommodation area has been there a long time. it's always been deemed as a workforce accommodation and for single persons. So it hasn't changed. It's not done any ill feelings to many people who lived in the area when the houses were built along Dempster Street and Craig Street and Woodman Street and Finlay Street, etc. And the old Cook Point Primary School. Everybody walked everywhere because they couldn't afford cars when they were living there. So the camp there's been a long time. First it was a single men's camp, and it became a single person's camp. And I've had many friends and colleagues living there over the years. Then it became a detention camp when Minister Larry Graham was in the Pilbara, was the member for the Pilbara, and it was an immigration camp on quite a relaxed camp, so that even the small amount at the start of the immigration camp, immigrants were detained there, but they were still able to go and have a swim in the ocean and things like that. And it was very, very quiet. And then overnight, the federal government at the time, overnight moved in and said, we're going to have a meeting in the Gratwick Hall here. And this was after the camp had become, or everybody, the BHP had built houses, or Martin Company built houses, everybody had moved out of the camp then, because it had become a detention camp. But overnight it was then blown out. And overnight, within 2 or 3 days, we had huge fences which cost $3 million put up to stop people going in or coming out. And it was a full-blown detention camp like you see when immigrants or detention people come, all right? Our town, our people, West Australia, Australia never had a say in that at all. I went to the meetings, I stood on the microphone, every one of us, we said, this is just not right. This is not a place for a detention camp. We said it was to try and accommodate people. There was no accommodation back there at all, either. We could have used this moving on from a FIFO camp to accommodate people in lots of different areas in our town. There's never been any accommodation in our town, ever. There hasn't been back in the early 60s, in the 70s, when I came to visit my father up here. I had to loan a flat at the time. I was in my teenage years. So there's never been any spare accommodation. When it comes to Councillor Turner actually saying, Deputy Mayor Turner, saying about paying to have houses in the workforce, may I remind everybody that the last major complex of housing, which were houses, were called the South Hedland New Living Programme. And some of you may have seen big, well, I think actually, Councillor Turner, you may have only just come into town then. That's the last biggest state government and a bit of federal thrown in there that actually had houses built for the general public. Not the grower housing, not the teachers, not the people who work in, actually in the courts and things like that with the government housing. There has been no new housing in Port Hedland, where we are now. There's been no new housing. There were some teacher housing that were replaced because old houses were pulled down. There was some teacher housing. But we have 50 teachers living in Osprey Village, and I don't begrudge them that because they have to live somewhere because they're teaching our children and our grandchildren. There are 50 teachers taking up 50 houses in Osprey. And I spoke to the minister when they were here, when the Prime Minister was here, and that we need a replication of that. Where is it? It's not happening. So why should we be putting the big thumbs on a company like Campbell who want to take up on a camp that's already being designated a camp back in the 1960s? Why are we putting the thumbs on these people? Who's to say that they're not going to contribute more? We don't know. We don't know if they're going to contribute more. Maybe they're listening tonight, Mr. Campbell's listening tonight, and maybe he will be contributing more. Maybe there are other things coming out of the woodwork, because I feel as if they will. You know, we have BHP across the road from the Campbells. Now, that's had mould in it and everything, and people have had to move out. It's just going to rack and ruin. What is happening with that? I asked about a timeline for that tonight. You know, yes, our schools are full, and if that area was full at the moment, there'd be a lot more. We'd have to sort of expand on another school. Yeah, but look, where are all the new houses? We had the Prime Minister here. We've had our state government here. Where are the new houses? I believe we may get up to 4 new government houses this year. State government houses, up to 4, or I think it's 2, it possibly would have been 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. But where are they? I know that my unit that I live in Cook Point, which is state government, was built 27 years ago. And that's one of the last complex of private government housing that was built in Port Hedland. In South Hedland, there's been so much land allocated and the houses have not been built in 16 years. I'll stand corrected if you think I'm wrong, but I know that I've done my homework. I have been here since 1985. And all the houses that were around a long time ago, you just drive along Athol Street and see the vacant blocks along Athol Street from the roundabout to Cook Point Caravan Park. And you'll see that they were government houses. They've either sold the land and nobody's built on them, or they're hanging on to them. But why are we putting the thumbs down on a company that's going to, you know, replicate their area into something that's really going to be outstanding? I know that they're going to do it right. They're going to do it right. It's going to free up 40 to 50 houses, because as soon as they're able to move their workforce in, and it's workforce and staff, we've learned about that tonight. So if it's up to, if it's between 150 and 200, that's not a 14 or 1500 camp that we've got in South Hedland. That's okay, isn't it? That's okay. But it's only going to be for so many years. And who's to say, like I said before when I spoke earlier, who's to say that some deal could be done with our council that if the camp moves, if the staff move out, that could become some form of accommodation, because that's what we all wanted when I was on council previous. That's what we wanted when it was mothballed after detention. Council have been trying since that was mothballed, became Ocean Beachfront. We wanted it to try and have accommodation for people in this town, and we didn't get a look in. All right, it's been sold. Campbell's have it. We've had fantastic presentations. We've all been to see it. And it's just a win-win situation for these people. Let's free up those 50 houses. And gosh, time flies in our town. But, you know, if we're going to go against, if anybody's going to go against this, you're going against those 50 houses. You're going against that staff. And who's to say that we know that when people start living in our town, they start wanting to buy into our town, because it's just a flow-on effect. The only thing that's stopping people these days is the amount it costs them to set up their house and the insurances to try and make sure that they can claim if there's a fire or a cyclone. You know, we have people around this table who don't own houses up here. They live in rental accommodation. They have less rent than I do. And I'm living in government accommodation, all right? Because they get their rent subsidised, and probably even people in this room. This is something which I don't have a problem with at all. And I say, I thank Campbell's for thinking ahead and saying, I want to do this, want to put people in there. There's traffic management, studies will be done, everything like that. But at the moment, why should we go against something that there's not a problem here? And to beautify an area, there's a lot of regulations in all the attachments that Campbell's have to do so much to make sure that the gardens are done and everything, and it's just for their company. Nobody said anything about the trucking company who renovated the Esplanade Hotel and put the crow's nest back on the top, and they wanted it for their accommodation. They originally bought it for their accommodating all their truckers, and we lost the hotel. How many years did we lose that? I'm quite sure Owen Hightower, you were around then, you would know how many years did we lose that. But they saw the potential in bringing it back to a hotel, that company, and they spent millions of dollars and putting our Esplanade back, and we've got our Esplanade Hotel back. Who's to say it's not going to be the same in Dempster Street? I just want to remind everybody that out of something that you feel might not be good can become good. So I really don't have a problem with this. People need a place to stay, they need to work. We've had other companies come across the table in the last couple of months and they want this camp, this camp, this camp. If you want this town to prosper, we're just going to have to look at this and just let it go ahead. Drive in, drive out, fly in, fly out. There are so many things coming online, and I'm hoped that when the Prime Minister was here with Cabinet back in February, that they realised truly how important this town is. And if we want to prosper, I think we need to think outside the box. So I'm hoping that we can get this across the line for a company who's really done their due diligence and are trying to do something good for the town. I do hope that we can go ahead with this for them tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Okay, we'll now put it to the vote, CEO. Okay. Sorry? No. That was all. Yeah. Okay, all those in favour, show of hands, please. Councillor Coles. 4. Okay, all those against. 4.
He's tied 4-4, Mr. Mayor. Casting vote.
Yeah, I'll also use my casting vote to not approve the application. Thank you, councillors. Item number 12.3.5. Joint Development Assessment Panel proposed Resource Recovery Centre tyre, cycle and processing facility at lots 100, number 22 and 1807, lot 20, Murrumbine Street, Wedgefield. Prior to the discussion on the agenda item 12.3.5, councillors and the public, a note was updated that the agenda was published on the town's website today with the amendment officer's recommendation to condition 11 for clarity the council to be considered for the update officer's recommendation, which is now on the item. We have now officer's recommendation before us that council recommends the Regional Joint Development Assessment Panel approves the development application reference number DAP-23-02435 and complying planning in accordance with clause 68 of the Planning Development Local Planning Scheme Regulations 2015 and the Town of Port Hedland Local Planning Scheme number 7, subject to the amendment conditions circulated in the updated agenda on Wednesday the 29th of March as displayed on the screen. Can we get a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zuki. Have a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is there anyone against the motion? No, motion's carried, absolute majority of 8. Uh, 12.4 Infrastructure Services, 12.4.1 Revised Marquee Park Public Open Space Project Concept. We have officer's recommendation before us that council want to suit to the section 3.12 of the Local Government Act 1995 and section 31 of the Dog Act 1976. Note the response for the formal private public notice advertising of the town's intent to specify areas within the Marquee Park open space at lot 263 and off the lead dog exercise area, and 2, note and endorse the revised Marquee Park concept design, improve amenity through the precinct to bring construction costs in line with the budget. Can I go mover, please?
Through the
Thank
chair.
you, Councillor Turner.
Can I suggest a alternative motion and then foreshadow the original, please?
You can after we do the vote, yes.
How can I do it after the vote, when the vote is the intent? I'm pretty sure the standing orders says that I can move a motion to amend at any point in time, correct?
you can foreshadow an alternate motion, in which case we would ask you to clarify what the alternate motion is. I guess it's then for the presiding member to either deal with the item as recommended and go to the foreshadowed after the vote, or to accept your alternate motion and deal with that one first. It's probably the decision of the presiding member.
Yes.
But if you want to clarify...
Even if it's an amendment to the motion?
No, not... Oh, apologies. No, if it's an amendment, we deal with an amendment first.
Yeah, because the amendment would just be the fact that we add another section to the officer's recommendation currently, and then I would foreshadow the fact that if this was to fail, then we go back to the original as it's written, and the amendment would be that we add part 3, which would be to defer the construction of the revised Marquee Park precinct to align with the future key worker precinct housing. So it doesn't amend the motion, it just adds additional to it. Happy to be corrected.
Happy to be guided by council and the presiding member. Councillor, my view would be, I suppose, that part 3 might negate the intent of the first two, or at least seek to defer, I suppose, the action on. I think the intent of the officer's recommendation was that, subject to council supporting the item, that we would then proceed with it, whereas your part 3 was seeking to defer it. And my suggestion, therefore, is that your motion is an alternate motion, not an amendment to the motion.
All right, happy to foreshadow instead of that. I'll just foreshadow that addition into if this fails, please and thank you.
Can I just clarify, do councillors have copies of that foreshadowed motion?
No, it's in front of me. It was just a lot. Sit with me until I decided.
Okay, you're happy to circulate it, or just so that everyone's aware of the foreshadowed motion?
Okay, so the mover was Councillor Christensen.
The mover was Councillor Turner.
Oh, sorry, Turner, sorry. You do that, yes. Original motion, yes. Yeah. Can I get a second, please, to that motion? Councillor Zilke, thank you. Okay, is anyone against that motion? Yeah. Councillor Christensen. Okay, Councillor Turner, I speak for the motion.
Yes, so I'm in support of the motion to move forward.
Need your microphone for Councillor Collins, please.
So in moving forward, supporting the recommendation, this discussion has a significant history where this council has voted unanimously in the past to support the repurposing of the Marquee Park to make it a family park and dog park. I am at a loss to understand what it is that some of my fellow councillor Christensen would be so opposed to this type of to this motion, particularly in the context that he himself has actually moved those motions for and sought a unanimous support in the past. So again, I think if you look at the Marquee Park, it is an area which is certainly really not fit for purpose. The buildings are derelict. It is a dead space. I drive past that every day to and from work. I can guarantee that space is not used. I think the intent to repurpose the buildings is a good one. And the repurposing with some of the inclusions around the expanded sort of park for families, I think is a really positive move. And also the relocation of the dog park from its current location will also allow us to progress with the shish. So I would hate to see that developed. So I would hate to see that stopped or slowed. So, yeah, that's my position. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Turner.
So,
Councillor
for the Chair, can I just ask a quick question of clarification of Councillor Turner, please?
Yeah.
So you mentioned in there that the buildings are derelict to start with. So is it your stance that the buildings are not fit for purpose now for anything, or are they derelict? Can I just get confirmation on that? And second to that, you've also spoken about the repurposing of these buildings into different locations. Can you confirm to me if the budget that we're currently approving now, is that going to be enough to relocate these buildings, please? Is that inside the scope?
I would have to seek it.
Point of order, it's in debate. Can we go through the person who's made the clarification? The clarification was to Councillor Turner.
Yes.
And I'm requesting that the statements were made. Can I just confirm what the statements were made of?
So,
Do you want me to speak to that?
Yes.
Okay, I am acting on the advice. I'm going with the information that's been provided to me via our reports. So I take that in good faith, and that's what I'm basing my statements on.
Okay, so there's money in this budget that we've approved previously to relocate these buildings, correct?
You have read the notes. You have seen what has been provided to us, and it says that there's a budget there for 900,000. Okay, so I take that on face value, and I rely on our administration and the expertise there to say they can deliver this park to that budget.
okay, Councillor Zucchi, you for?
Yes, certainly. For me, the place, the way it is now, it's been used and abused by people breaking into the buildings. It's obviously not working for what it is, and we're making use or good use of it. So the only issue I have with Councillor Christensen's amendment or foreshadow is the actual time delay. Taking that long will put the shish on hold for the same amount of time, because as far as I'm aware, we need to move the dog park so that we can progress on something that we've been saying that we're going to do for a considerable amount of time.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Zucchi. Anyone against? Yes, Councillor Christensen.
Right, yeah. So first of all, thanks to everyone who's so far engaged in this communication. Where do I start? I think we spoke about the history of this becoming what it is today. I think we should look at the history. So the initial intent was to find alternative use for this current park, and the secondary revision of that was to repurpose existing. So I'll challenge you and suggest to you, in my mind, this has now gone away from the original scope of works that was originally put forward, which Councillor Turner has suggested I have, followed through with it. Now I say that to the intent of that repurposing to me does not mean that we outlay $1 million of our ratepayers' money. Again, $1 million is a lot of money in this current climate where we have a lot more issues to face. Second to that, this is not the original scope that was presented to us. The original scope was best business practice. It was to eliminate and get rid of anything that shouldn't be there. Instead, we are going to now cover over what we were originally going to take out. I ask you, why is that? Outside of only saving money, that is the only thing I can see the reason for that to happen. We talk and talk and talk constantly here, and we love to shit stir and say about previous builders that have come to this town and done bunny ears, I quote, cowboy work. Not suggesting that this is going to be cowboy work, but I'm going to ask the question in 5 to 10 years' time, if we wish to repurpose this location into something a bit more substantial, are we going to be sitting here, or is that council back then going to be saying the exact same thing about us in relation to this? That's my first lot of issues. Second to that, I will draw to our attention of all our colleagues the higher than average, in my opinion, the higher than average normal acceptance of out of budget capital expenditure this year we've approved. I'll ask all councillors here tonight to have a really good think about it and ask yourself the question, are you really aware of the intent of how much money we have approved outside of budget expense for our capital project? Now, I'm not a mathematician by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm telling you right here, right now, it's in the ballpark of $3 to $4 million that I can even think about, and that's just ones I can think about. We're not past Q2 yet. Q2 is still coming up to the debate. So what I'm suggesting right now is to defer the spend. I'm not denying the fact that the work that's been done from the administration is subpar. If anything, it's actually a quite good look ahead. When you see what they can provide, it's great. But I'm very concerned at the fact that we're going to put $1 million into this straight away without understanding our Q2 position, where we have $1 million to be put into what? And I challenge you again, what is this? I heard my fellow colleagues twice now mention the fact that we're worried about the SHISH now being delayed. At the worst case scenario, the SHISH will only be delayed by 28 days if we elect to move something in a hurry. What's the dog park? Can anybody here tell me what the dog park in South Adelaide currently looks like? Happy to be heard when you come back and give your statements, but it's a chain fence with a couple of seats and some grass. Now you're telling me that we as a council cannot find a location and implement $30,000 to $100,000 of work to get it up and running to make the SHISH work. That's my second point and my concerns about this. Again, I'm not saying this is not to go ahead. I'm happy to note it. I'm happy to say it's a great design. However, all I'm asking for you guys to do right now is to defer it currently. I've asked for it to be to the next lot of building when the key worker housing gets built. And the reason I suggested that is it gives us time to then go find potential suitors that can actually help us fund this, part fund this, which is meant to be our mecca of what we need to do. Our budget should be partly funded in majority of things that we do. So again, this is $1 million coming out of our pocket to relocate some dogs at the present point in time. My second question and concerns is in relation to the current idea of what it's going to cost us. So $900,000 currently is to retrofit existing infrastructure in there. We are then going to be putting some money in the next year's budget for the new playground out of our yearly playground budget. Second to that, I would challenge and ask the question is, do we have, in that $900,000, are we going to have the money to relocate the 3 structures that are suggested? Shade, kiosk, and the ranger office, or the debantables, whatever you want to call it. Again, I would suggest that we don't, because there's other budget items in the current budget that suggest that we need more money to move these items. Happy to be corrected again. Again, I'm just concerned with the amount of money we're going to be spending right now for the purpose of what we're going to get. So, please, by all means, if I've missed anything, I'm sick and tired of being the negative Nancy, but I'm just concerned that we are putting a lot of money into it for theoretically a dog park and some jungle bars, or however you want to look at it. So I'm going to rest on that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Christian. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, the Marquee Park does have its merits, but I can hear what Councillor Deputy Mayor Turner is saying, and I like the words children and families. And children and families, so it should be a children and families play nature park. There's still a lot more that we could do to make this happen. But to put a pumping station in there, look, I was away last month because of medical reasons. I didn't get a chance to talk with those briefings, but reading this week about having a pumping station and things like that, yes, I don't think that this should be included. We've got Port Hedland Sports, we've got South Hedland, we've got the stadium, you've got all the way along Murdoch Drive, you've got pumping stations or exercise things, etc., different areas. I really think there's more that we could really think about doing here, and there's a lot more talk that we needed to have around the table, and we haven't really had it. You can all agree we have not had the chance to really, really nut all this out. Yes, I may have voted on for a dog park previously, but I changed my mind a long time ago about having a dog park. But if it is a dog park, family friendly for a children's nature park, but having then a lot of people come through doing pumping iron things and having kids there, I actually don't think it's a good mix. I really don't think it's a good mix. A lot of kids there are going to go on their own there, and really, we do really need to think about all the extra money this really is costing us, and there's an awful lot of money that is supposed to be spent over the next few years, or they're saying that SHISH may be another 10 years away. So I think we could do this better. Okay. We could really, really do this better.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Councillor Bennett.
Yeah, just wanted to echo on pretty much from Councillor Christensen and Councillor Gillingham. I actually struggled a bit with this one. I like the concept of it. I think it's a good plan. What I am struggling with is my concerns the number of projects that we've pretty much got on our books, and the amount of expenditure that we've got. Is this a priority? Yes, in a sense, because the park does need a little bit of work, but just looking at the cost of living increases, and this is going back to our ratepayers, I can't see myself supporting it just for that reason. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bennett. Is anyone else for? Anyone else against? I'd like to sum up. Councillor Turner.
So thank you for sharing your perspectives. So I would say if we were to do nothing, then that park remains as it is, and that continues to be a wasted space, space that is not used, continue to deteriorate over time. I would also reiterate that we as a council have voted on this matter twice unanimously. And yes, I acknowledge that people can change their mind, but I think that there's an expectation that we move forward with the commitments that we've made, that we have articulated a desire and a need for a family park and a dog park that will be used and that will allow us to progress with other major projects. So I would really encourage my fellow councillors to really support this so that we can be seen to be progressing the development of the town. Not to do that and to hold this against some other development where we, maybe 3 or 4 years down the track, I'm not sure when, then I think that's problematic. So I would encourage you to vote for the dog park and support the development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Turner. Okay, we'll now put it to the vote. All those in favour? 4. All those against?
And just through the chair, my fellow colleagues next to me are talking, and they're discussing things, and they shouldn't be doing that over the chair through the chair, Mayor.
Okay, so it's 4 against, 4. Casting vote. Okay, thank you, CEO. Yeah, I'll use my casting vote to vote for the dog park. Okay, thank you.
Can I move a motion that votes are counted for per councillor, please?
Yeah, done. Okay, item number 12.5, Executive Services. 12.5.1, Up and Coming Conferences 2023. We have 6 offers of recommendation before us and seeking nominations for elected members and various conferences. The first being that Council, 1, nominate and approve elected members to attend the Australian Hydrogen Conference on behalf of the town of Port Hedland on the 25th to the 26th of May 2023 in Brisbane. Okay, any volunteers, any councillors? Other than myself? No?
Just you?
Just me. Okay.
Move and second them all together? Or?
Yeah, we'll do it all at the end. Yeah, it's fine. See you.
Number 2, all the nominations first.
So I lost CEO, where were we?
You can either choose to move and second
one by one?
I'll do it the whole then.
Or
Do it then.
move and second
The whole
all
lot.
of them en bloc,
Yep.
but I would suggest you collect all of your nominations first.
First, yes, okay. Okay, next one. Okay, second office recommendation is Council 1, nominate and approve elected members to attend the 2023 National General Assembly of Local Government, NGA, which incorporates the Regional Corporation of Development Forum on behalf of the town of Headland on the 13th and the 16th of June in Canberra. Myself as Mayor and Deputy Mayor. Any other councillors to attend that? Councillor Christensen? Can't see. Councillor Bennett? Yep.
Yes.
Yes, Councillor Bennett.
We'll record those.
Record those ones, okay. Number 3. The third office recommendation is that Council 1, nominate and approve elected members to attend the 4th Organised Economic Cooperation of Development, the EOCD, meeting and mining regions and cities on behalf of the town of Headland on the 20th and the 23rd of June in Karratha. Any councillors like to attend that?
Just double check Councillor Coles. Councillor Coles, I'm assuming you can see us, just checking that you don't wish to nominate for that conference?
I haven't been able to see anybody all night, and it's a bit static.
Okay. Can you hear us at the moment well enough, Councillor Coles?
I heard my name.
Councillor Coles, we have a conference in Karratha on the 20th and the 23rd of June in Karratha. It's the OECD meeting of mining regional cities. Would you like to go to that?
I don't think she can hear you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right, we'll move on.
I'll assume
Yeah. Oh, no, Councillor Turner. Councillor Turner. Councillor Turner. Yeah. And myself as Mayor as well. See you. Okay, the fourth office recommendation is that Council nominate and approve the following elected members to attend the 2023 Developing Northern Australia Conference on behalf of the town of Headland on the 24th and the 26th of July 2023 in Darwin. Myself as Mayor, do we have any other elected members like to attend that one? Councillor Turner? No one else? No, okay. Okay, the fifth office recommendation is that Council nominate and approve the following elected members to attend the 2023 Decarbonising and Resources Selectors Summit on behalf of the town of Headland on the 26th and 27th of July 2023 in Perth. If any elected members? Councillor Zulke, yes. Okay, and myself as Mayor as well. Maybe that one. Okay, the sixth office recommendation is that Council 1 nominate and approve following elected members to attend the 2023 SEGRA National Regional and Economic Development Summit on behalf of the town of Headland on the 26th and 27th of July 2023 in Toowoomba in Queensland. There's myself as Mayor. Any other elected members like to join me? Councillor Christensen.
Mr. Mayor, just for my benefit, I have you nominated to be in both Perth and Toowoomba at two different conferences on the same dates. In terms of recommendation 5 and 6, I think you'll need to.
I'll leave number 5 out.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's because it crosses over. It does. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's all. Okay. Can I get a mover, please, on those? Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Zucchi, thank you. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried 8-0. Item number 13, motion to previous notice has been given. There is nil. Item number 14, new business of an urgent nature, late items, there is nil. Item 15, matters which the meeting may be closed, confidential matters. We have a report to consider by Council tonight on the recommendation that Council close the meeting to members of the public as described under section 5.23-2 of the Local Government Act 1995 to consider item 15.1. Can I get a mover, please, to go into confidential? Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Second, thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried 8-0. Can we stop the recording, please?
And as a point of order as well, can I move a procedural motion that we suspend standing orders again so we can ask some questions that aren't to standards, please?
Yep. There was second of that. Councillor Turner and mover was Councillor Christensen. Yes, we can. Yeah. Have we stopped? Christensen and Councillor Turner. There's no one against.
No one against. So we suspend standing
Orders. Yep.
Are you declaring a comfort break, Mr. Mayor?
We are for 5 minutes, yes.
5 minutes.
Yep.
7:11.
Are we stopped live streaming? Okay. Yep. That's item number 15 point. On the screen? Okay, okay. While we're in closed doors, with it, Council has awarded the tender RFT 223-28 Major Music Festival, August 2023, to Experience Rover Proprietary Limited for the delivery of an event services, the amount of $570,000. Thank you, councillors. Okay, item number 16, closure, 16.1. The date of the next council meeting will be held on Wednesday the 26th of April 2023 at 5:30 p.m. 16.2 closure. Being there no further business, I declare the ordinary council meeting closed at 7:57 p.m. I'd like to thank my councillors, members of the public and the CEO of the staff for their attendance this evening. Thank you.